Does your marriage feel stuck? Do you feel stuck? Same old patterns, arguments, habits, sense of distance, retreating to your corners to protect yourselves. If you're searching for real ways to reconnect, change the dynamics of your marriage, the way that it feels, beyond just getting through each day, I hope this video helps. This is part of a 4-video series on marriage. Today, we're covering actionable skills that can actually really help you break out of old patterns to create a marriage that feels connected, loving, present, meaningful, not just something that you're managing. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Andrew Smith. I'm a clinical psychologist, a professor, a therapist, Pat Tillman military scholar. I've spent the last 15 years helping individuals, couples, strengthen their relationships and build more resilient ways of operating together. Today, I'm sharing insights from Rewire. This is an evidence-based approach that I designed to help people create deeper, more fulfilling marriages and relationships across the spectrum. Before we dive in, I want to share a free relationship guide that's available at rewirewellness.co. It's packed with insights and tools that support everything I'm covering in today's session. Just head to the website to access it. The link is in the description. So today, what am I focused on? I'm focused on values-led actions that help you reconnect in a way that feels really genuine and honest. If the content in this video works for you, you get something out of it, I really encourage you to check out the other videos in this series. I'll be covering topics like healthy sense of self, crafting a positive narrative, and developing a growth-focused mindset that can help your marriage thrive. So let's start by breaking down the roadmap for what I'm going to cover today. Number 1, steps to get started with values-led change. Number 2, skills that make this change sustainable. Number 3, having the courage to be the one who steps up and tries these skills out. And number 4, let's do some practical examples for how to apply these skills, these tools in real life situations. So we're going to start with part 1, steps to begin values-led change. Number 1, and you might not like this, but it's a foundation for how to start improving, and that is accept your own responsibility. We have to first start with recognizing that we're all contributors. It takes 2 to tango, to be cliche, to both positive and negative patterns in our relationships. You might be really frustrated with your significant other, and I get that. I've been there. They might have done something really hurtful, and it's been really hard for you to come back from. But you can only control one part of this dyad, yourself. It's so easy to see the fault in the other. It can be much harder to step back and take account for ourselves. Taking responsibility, it empowers you to influence the relationship in a positive way. Focus on what you can control, which is you. Step 2, notice misalignments with your values. So notice moments when your actions don't actually align with your values, where you're not living up to who it is that you'd like to be. These are often times that we act out of habit or emotional reaction or thought scripts, thinking patterns, instead of intentional values that take us on a trajectory of health. Taking a moment to pause and recognize these times is an important step towards change. You have control by taking responsibility. You have to notice where you're not aligned with your values. And step 3, start recalibrating with one small moment, with one small action. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. We recalibrate by choosing one small action that aligns with your values. Instead of an emotional reaction, try a values-led action. For example, if patience is important to you, check yourself on your typical defensive response if that's how you do it. Slow down, hear the other person, take a moment to listen, find the pain points that they're experiencing. Here's a chance for engagement. Step into the chat, leave a comment before we jump in, drop a message. What's one thing you're hoping to learn to improve your marriage? I'll be reading through and would love to hear what resonates with you or some areas that you would like us to cover. Okay, part 2, skills to sustain values-led change. And these skills, I'll be talking about 2 in particular, mindfulness and diffusion. There are some foundational skills to help you with this difficult thing called values-led action. To keep your actions aligned with your values, it requires you to notice through mindfulness and to separate yourself from your thoughts and emotions using diffusion. So first, mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you slow down. It helps you to recognize when emotions arise or are recurring through thoughts. that are taking over. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, he'll never change, pause, ground yourself in the present moment. This awareness will help you act with intention instead of sort of self-fulfilling prophecy that he'll never change by not even giving a chance, by revealing what's upsetting you. So mindfulness is a key step. It's a muscle that you can actually build. It's not just some abstract Eastern philosophy. It's a cognitive, emotional tool that we can use to slow down, that gives us choice. So I want to encourage you to try to see if you've got any recurring patterns or can notice any that you've had trouble clearly seeing or breaking down into smaller parts. That would be a step towards motivation to using mindfulness. Okay, skill 2, diffusion. It's a little more abstract, but it's fundamentally the ability to observe your thoughts without letting them control your actions. A thought like, why am I the one who always has to fix things? It's just a thought. It's not true with a capital T. It doesn't define you. When you separate yourself from these automatic reactions, you gain freedom to choose values-led responses. Okay, part 3, individual transformation and courage to change. So it's actually really natural and would be lovely and ideal if both partners in a marriage would work on these changes together. However, I've seen it in hundreds of folks, incredible transformation in marriages, even when just one person has the courage to take these steps to learn these skills. Often, when one partner begins to step up and out of these repetitive patterns, they can lift the relationship out and onto more solid ground. Making the decision to live by values, let's say, for example, that you value respect, compassion, honesty. Instead of being driven by emotional reactivity, this requires courage. It means choosing not to engage in the same old muck of past arguments, blame, frustration that just keep on repeating. Instead, it's about stepping up, moving beyond that stuck place, and committing to a higher standard for how you want to show up in your marriage. And these changes can often inspire and bring along the other person to engage. And if they don't, then we're having another conversation about the worthiness of that relationship to continue. This takes strength. One person's commitment can be the first step towards real change. And maybe you're the one who's ready to be that driver of change and redemption in your marriage on your hero's journey. Is it you? Is it you that's going to step up and do that? So, part 4. Let's bring this into real life scenarios. Imagine a conflict with your spouse. If your values are, for example, patience, honesty, and respect, you might choose one of those values if you use mindfulness to notice when you're having an emotional reaction that's taking you out of the moment. You might choose one of these values, patience, if you choose to act out of patience. Instead of interrupting, take a breath and truly listen. Find the pain points. Hear it in the other person's words. Or maybe you want to respond out of honesty. Offer a genuine apology if you've hurt them, even if you're not sure if they're going to reciprocate, with responsibility taking of your own. Or maybe you want to operate out of respect, the value of respect. Choose an action. One way of respecting is to truly be open and honest about a hurt or an emotional pain that you've experienced from the other person. Now, if you want to get started, think about one values-led action that you might be willing to try this week. Pick a few values, these aspirational things that you'd like to be, and choose a values-led action that you might use to start changing some things about the pattern in your marriage. Now, what I want to say is that these are just a few tools that you can use. For more insights, check out the other videos in this marriage series. I also really encourage you to visit rewirewellness.co and download our free guide. It'll show you how to employ or deploy the Rewire approach in your marriage and relationships. And I just really want to thank you for joining today. Remember, even small values-led actions can create meaningful shifts in your marriage. Breaking patterns is hard and possible. Let me know if you wanted to use the chat, which values you wanted to commit to. And don't forget to explore the rest of the series and grab your free guide on rewirewellness.co. So here's to healthier, more connected marriages.